Hello again, and it's your favourite fumble-fingered fool, Captain Clumsy here, and today it's winterisation day. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start with listing some products I'm going to be using, or amongst the products I'm going to be using. So that says Silcoline Wash Off, but in actual fact it's Muc-Off. I'm going to be using a variant of the full Fillingham, and refer to Uncle Stu's channel for details of that. We've got Scott Oiler FS365, may or may not use that. ACF 50, we'll definitely use that. The stabiliser, fuel stabiliser, I'm going to add that to the tank, so to protect the fuel that's in there for the rest of the winter. We've got Muc-Off motorcycle protectant, that's a sort of more lightweight protectant. We got some Carnauba liquid wax and a can of petrol, because I'm going to top up the fuel tank. So because one of the requirements of this fuel stabilizer is the tank is as near full as you can, so that there's less problem with condensation. Of course, a selection of wash mitts, microfiber cloths, and there is a bucket. So I'm just filming in the shed at the moment because it's raining again, as it has been for every day since I returned from holiday on the 9th of October. Today is the 5th of November, and I don't think it's going to get any better. So time to put the Guzzi away. I've also got a cover to put over it. I'll connect it to the battery tender over winter so the battery remains active. Now I have some oil, and I also have an oil filter. I'm not going to change the oil at this point because I'm going to do it in the spring, first thing prior to the first ride or after the first ride. So let's hope it stopped raining and I can start washing. So the rain has stopped, and it's very kindly given me a nice pre-wash, so it's wetted down the frame quite nicely, so that'll save me a little bit of a job, although there is still some dry areas. As you can see, it's the height of autumn. Behind me, you've got beautiful autumn colours here and over there, but it also means leaves everywhere, debris everywhere, mud and crud starting to accumulate. I don't want to ride an Italian thoroughbred in that, do I? So let's crack on. Okay, stage 2. I've acquired some more essential bits of kit, so a hose, and of course there's now no hose pipe bang because it's been raining like you know what. Okay, so we have a bucket of warmish water, and most importantly of all, we have a cup of strong bean to cup coffee. And if any coffee manufacturers want to get in touch to sponsor this channel, you're welcome. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to wet the bike a little bit more thoroughly than the heavens above were able to. It's probably all we need really, because we need to get at the underside as well. So a lot of the muck will just come off with a little bit of dampening, but we don't want to spray it too hard. A little bit of we don't want to get water into bearings or other places that shouldn't get into, and I will get the bike dry before any further. Another thing I've done is I've removed my watch. Bear in mind, if you're washing a bike, sometimes the sharp projections from things like watches, you know, chains, etc., can scratch your bike. So yes, definitely worth taking a precaution or two. Now I have got a bit of limited space here, unfortunately, and this is about as far as the hose will go, so I can't be that still. I think we're about there for preliminary wet down. Let's get some Muc-Off on. So really, literally, all this is getting this stuff, which is basically a detergent of some kind with various additives. So we're covering all the spaces. May need to roll the bike back and forth at times. Ow. Banging your knee is not recommended. Oh! Now, as I said, this is an adapted filling method. Everybody's got their own methods. I've seen people do it with washing up liquid. Other people use this foam stuff. I think one of the things I'm going to be doing is lubricating cables, so I've ordered something off Amazon to do that, and that's probably going to be a separate vlog because I'll be useless at it, of course. Now, the plan is with this is once this stuff's on is to leave it for a few minutes to do its business. Now, the bike was relatively clean underneath all of this. It's not really too bad. I'm going to leave the tank for a bit because I think that's going to be a polish job. Now, I'm going to try and get underneath. Knees wet. And later, see how well it dries. But I'm going to have to run the engine for the fuel stabiliser anyway, so that should get rid of some trapped moisture. But I may also get the leaf blower out to make sure everything is completely dry. And the side of the bike is protected with wax oil, actually. That shouldn't be too bad. Wheel arches and so forth. Give that a few minutes, drink some coffee, and then we'll rinse it off, wipe it down, and see what else needs to be done. Rain break number 2. Okay, so whilst you lot have been quietly snoozing in here, enjoying the protection of this shed, I've been out there in the rain, rinsing off the Guzzi. And the idea with this method of washing is that there's little or no scrubbing or agitation, so hopefully little or no damage to paint surfaces and any other vulnerable bits. And in a minute, I'll take you out when it stopped raining and show you how effective it's actually been in this case. Bear in mind, it helps if you do this sort of thing regularly, so you use protections. So in between washes, this stuff, quick and easy to spray on. Winterising, this stuff, possibly this stuff, and also wax oil, which I've got in the shed. I'm not going to reapply that. I'll take you out and I'll show you what's been done so far. Now we need to get the bike to a point where we can apply some protectorant. That may take a while. Let's get the bike dried off whilst the rain has gone. That was a hefty shower, I can tell you, and there may well be others on the way. So, combination of drying cloth and the good old leaf blower, and then I think we'll have to go in the shed for the final bit, get the fuel stabiliser in. We may have to bring her out to top up the protection. So, let's get on with it. Of course, one of the things you must do is make sure that any drying cloths, wiping cloths are washed in between uses, so you don't end up scratching your valuable possession, or maybe not so valuable possession, who knows. But whatever it is, if you want to keep it looking good, try and do as little abrasion as is reasonable to keep things okay. Bear in mind, of course, it's not going to look great with ACF 50 plastered all over it, but the ACF should do a job regarding protecting it over winter. You've got to be careful of these little places that absorb water, like around the fuel cap, and any little junctions and so forth, which of course could then lead to corrosion and other problems such as stuck cables and joints and so forth. But I'm in a bit of a rush because we haven't got much time left before the next shower, I think. Now I can immediately see that this back wheel hasn't been completely cleaned off is the more difficult ones to get to. I'm not too concerned, as long as there's not any real areas which are more about protection than shine today. So it's mainly about getting rid of standing water, or water that could seep into areas such as wiring that may deteriorate if subject. Bear in mind, it could be in the shed 3-4 months. It's beginning of November. I would expect to be riding again by early March, maybe even the middle of February. Bear in mind, this is Cornwall, where it's not so cold. You probably won't hear a thing now, so talk amongst yourselves. Right, that's enough blowing for now. Bear in mind, if you use a leaf blower, make sure it's fairly clean before you start working, because it can blow out some rubbish if you've been using it for leaf blowing. Okay, let's take stock. So we've got 90% dry. There's still a bit of damp here and there, and that's always going to be the case. So hopefully the 5 minutes of running the engine will deal with a good bit of that. But there's always going to be places, so it needs to go somewhere where it's dry and protected. So things are looking fairly good now. Main point is, as I said, protection not finished. Now, clearly a good thing to do is to straighten the bike up, because stuff does tend to fall out if you move it. But I'm not going to bend it over too much, because it's a big and heavy bike, and I'm not a big and heavy person. I just saw then a lot came out the front hub. It's things like that. I see Freddie Dobbs leaning his bikes over to ridiculous angles, and I'm thinking, oh Christ. So let's get rid of some of the stuff that came out when I leant the bike over. Right, last bit of drying by hand. Bear in mind, I think it's going to start raining, so let's get this bike covered. Fortunately, I have a cover to hand. Of course, one of the things you shouldn't do is leave a damp bike out overnight under a cover, but I'm not going to leave it out overnight. I'm just going to leave it out long enough so that shower goes over and I can restart. Welcome to the joys of protecting your motorbike in a damp climate. They don't have this in California, do they? Done! One covered over bike. One covered over bike. Let's put away the leaf blower because that's electric. Ooh, missed a bit. Nice. So hopefully we can still get this dried off, but I'll think it'll be a little bit later. So I'm going to call it a day for the winterising. So this is the end of part one of what's now going to be a two-part video, simply because the weather has not been helping. I've really got to get the bike bone dry, get the protector on, make sure everything's done properly, so I need at least a couple of hours of dry weather to do that, and that ain't going to happen today. So got to go with the flow, and I'll start part two with getting the fuel stabilizer in the tank, because I can do that in the shed, and then the other bits will probably need the bike to be back out again so I can really get around it, get the ACF 50 on it. So thank you for watching this Moto Guzzi maintenance video. It's common to all bikes, of course. If you want to put it away from the winter, I've been Captain Clumsy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, won't I?